Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be with our next guest, Jennifer Turner. She is the president and CEO of TPAC, Tennessee Performing Arts Center. And Jennifer, how are you doing?
Good, Jeremy. It's nice to be with you today.
So let's dive in. Give us a little history lesson because 40 years in terms of the anniversary and everything that's good going on. So give us a history lesson for Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Sure. Well, 40 years is a long time. And when a lot of people think of TPAC, they think of the Broadway shows because we are the home for Broadway in Nashville. But we also have lots of other performing arts that serve hundreds of thousands of Tennessee residents and visitors every year. We're also the home of the Nashville Ballet, the Nashville Opera, and the Nashville Repertory Theater. And then we also manage the beautiful historic War Memorial Auditorium, which is going to be turning 100 years old in 2025.
Give us, I know you can't pick favorites because it's like trying to pick your favorite child, but give us some highlights in terms of the big shows when you look back, and then we'll look forward. So looking back, what are some of your favorite moments?
Well, I've only been with the organization since May of 2019. So I've actually been in COVID lockdown longer than I was actually there. But I think one of the highlights for me was the big Hamilton on sale. That was so much fun. It was just the community was so excited for the show to happen. And we had that, large public on sale, and people were able to come down and they could take a picture on our stage after they got their Hamilton tickets with the big cutout of the tickets. That was really fun. And then also just opening night. We opened Hamilton on New Year's Eve, December 31st, and there was so much energy in the audience. I had just seen the cast in Milwaukee a few weeks prior to that, and there was a different energy and electricity with them. And I asked them later, I said, "What's going on?" I said, your show is always amazing, but you really took it up a notch. And they said it was the audience. We really fed off the Nashville audience. They were enthused, they were excited, and that just elevated our performance as well. So I would say that was a highlight.
That's cool to hear too, just the impact of the audience in terms of what that means for the cast and the energy level and the experience. That's cool just in and of itself. When you look at, let's start with some of the other programming, because you mentioned you're so much more than the Broadway shows, and especially around youth programming. And I mean, you cover a lot of bandwidth there. So dive into some of the other things that the public might not know, but are major pieces of what you do.
Sure. Well, one of the most important parts of our mission is providing access to arts experiences. So we serve anywhere from pre-K all the way through 12th grade students. And then we also serve adults, teachers, students, adults, because we think the arts at any age has just the unique power to spark social, cognitive, creative development. It helps, with your public speaking. It helps with your confidence. So we feel that the arts are important at any age. So our programs focus on bringing the arts to people starting at age 3, really, and going all the way up through adulthood. And since COVID, we've actually had to pivot and offer all those programs virtually. So we're doing Zooms with 3-year-olds through our Wolf Trap for Early Learning programs, but it's important, so we're getting it out there.
Carry that forward in terms of when you look at the pandemic and the virtual offerings and being still creative, both in terms of what you deliver, but how you utilize technology. Talk about how that's really opened up some new bandwidth in terms of audience and participation, at the same time, obviously managing different expectations. So talk a little about just the business side of managing the piece of being online and virtual.
Sure. Well, when we shut down last March, it was really important for us to stay engaged with our audience. And we also knew that, missing out on live performances and all of our programs would leave a big hole in our community. So we looked at ways that we could deliver not only performances virtually, but our programs virtually. And what we found is that, it's wonderful to all be in the audience together, experiencing a live performance or the creativity that sparked through collaboration when you're all in the room together. But we also learned that, we can get so much more reach when we go to digital. So we were having people watch our programs from different time zones and all over the country. which is really fantastic because some people don't have the same access to the arts. There are a lot of barriers to participation. So for us, it was very cool when we were putting some of our education programs online to see that we were able to serve more people, which is also part of our mission, is to serve as many people as possible. And so that digital opportunity allowed us to do so. So we've been learning a lot through this pandemic. And I think for us, in terms of a business model, I think there's always going to be an opportunity to include the digital component in the live experience. And so we can do both.
Talk about the 2021 calendar in terms of what you're planning and beyond. So how are you looking at kind of where we are now, but ultimately once things, reopen and get back to more of a normal, what is that business process looking like right now?
Sure. Well, when we shut down in March, we were almost finished with our 1920 season. So we still had a couple of productions that unfortunately we had to either postpone or cancel. And then we had just announced and started selling season packages for our 2021 season, which was fantastic. So with the pandemic, we really didn't know when we were going to be able to tour again. There was some hope that we might be able to get back this month, actually. And we worked so hard to make that happen, and it just didn't work out. So we've been working with the shows, with the producers, with the touring organizations to find times that we can bring these shows back. So my goal was to get as many of the shows that this community was promised and get them back in the 21-22 season. So we're in the process of getting everything redated. With the news of the vaccine, we're very hopeful that we're going to be able to restart live performances. We feel very good about that. So we are in the process of getting everything confirmed, and we're going to be announcing this spring our new season, which will include a lot of what you already heard, which was supposed to be this season. But the great thing is that we had so many Nashville premieres, so we're going to be able to maintain a lot of those premieres for the community.
Yeah, very cool. And, to your point, people were looking forward to it. And so putting it on hold, but bringing it back and still allowing that experience to happen, that's a major win. Talk about on your end, when you look at economic impact, when you look at the difference you're able to make, arts in general is always a very important part of a city's, not just culture and voice, but also to economic vibrancy. And so talk about it from that side of things, of just the ripple effect created, the engagement overall, and the collaboration, like you mentioned, with the other entities. Talk about it from a development standpoint.
Sure. The arts, especially arts institutions, play a really critical part in the ecosystem of the city and state economies. So we sit in an area that is surrounded by parking lots and restaurants, and all of those, business entities usually count on our traffic, our 400,000 people a year that are dining at their restaurants, staying at their hotels, parking in their parking lots. And then we also are a large employer. We are, we employ over 1,500 full-time equivalent positions in this community every year. So that, also has been a big loss. We've unfortunately haven't had performances. We haven't been able to employ our bartenders, our ushers. A lot of people volunteered with us too. So that gave them, some a way to contribute to their community and get out of the house and celebrate and enjoy the arts. And that's not happening. But we also brought touring artists into this community. We went through about 7,500 hotel rooms in this community alone every year for the cast of our touring shows, our education shows, and our one-night shows. So if you think about a big cast like Hamilton, it's not only the actors, but it's the crew, it's the wardrobe, it's the musicians, it's everyone associated with that cast. They're living here in this community for 3 weeks. So we've not only lost the impact on, the people who live here and work here and rely on our business to keep their businesses going, but we've lost the influx of outside resources that our touring product brings us.
It's a really great point, and I'm glad you illustrate the ripple effect there of not just the jobs, local, but that carryover effect, and even into the restaurants and all the other sides that really do depend on you for that business. So I'm glad you illustrated that. Share a little bit about just when you look at how the community can help. Obviously, the ticket purchases, the season tickets, I want you to talk about that, but how can we help?
Sure. We were one of the first performing arts centers to start a recovery fund. And we were very intentional that this is a recovery, that we are going to be back. We just need a little bit of extra help to get through it. But as a nonprofit, we rely on contributions, not only during difficult times, but good times. It's very expensive to bring this product into our communities. And so we do rely on a combination of contributed income and ticket sales to make everything work. And when you have your ticket sales stripped away for the duration of time that we have, we are even more dependent upon the generosity of our donors and our corporate community and those who have chosen to support the arts at this critical time. And we do know that there are a lot of needs right now, and we help. We as a community member are also personally and supporting those needs. And as a community, we donated a portion of our proceeds to the tornado recovery fund, for example. I mean, we live here, we work here, we want to, we're a part of this community as well. We let our employees volunteer. This is important to us. So, if you do care about the arts and you do support the arts, helping us by donating or just even, tuning into our programs, looking at our salon series, looking at our education programs, it helps us for you to engage with us, see what we have to do. And then we hope to welcome you back in the theaters when it's safe to do so and when we're able to resume performances.
I know that we mentioned the 40th anniversary. You've got a lot of pomp and circumstance and pizzazz around that. So give us a little teaser for what circles around the 40th anniversary.
Sure. Well, we're, 40 years is a long time. So we're very excited to be here, to have been in this community this long. So we put together, knowing we couldn't gather in person, we decided we wanted to bring artists back on our stages again. So we were fortunate to work with the Nashville Ballet, the Nashville Opera, the Nashville Rep, and then Tony Award-winning nominee Susan Egan, recording artist Diana DeGarmo, and it's hosted by Tamiko Robinson Steele. And then we also feature one of our programs, the Spotlight Awards, which is the High School Musical Theater Awards. And the winner, Hattie King, is also going to be appearing. So we wanted these artists back on our stage, and it was wonderful to welcome them back to the Polk stage. They were very overwhelmed by being back on a stage. And so we wanted to create that magic, capture it on film, and be able to deliver it to you. It's going to be February 20th, and we have a lot of great partnerships. There's food elements to it. We partnered with Goo Goo Cluster on a special edition Goo Goo, and it's called the Encore, and you can buy those directly through Goo Goo. So we're really excited. We think it's a great opportunity to just recognize the impact that we've had on this community and thank the community for supporting us, coming to our programs, and being a part of our history through all these years.
What makes you excited for the rest of this year and beyond? I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, when you look at being able to bring a lot of the shows that people were looking forward to bring those in, and then obviously to get back to some sort of normalcy, those in and of themselves put a huge smile on our face. But what's something else that really puts a smile on your face when you look at the road ahead?
I think I'm just so happy that we have the opportunity to not only to do this work virtually, but to stay connected, and that people are excited for us to be back in the live performance realm, but they're also enjoying what we do virtually. So I think that I'm optimistic for the future. I'm excited about getting back into the theaters. I can't wait to bring back a lot of those shows that we were talking about last year. And then we've got some really new exciting projects coming up as well that we're looking to announce. Being here since 2019, I have a vision of what this organization can contribute. And it really does rely on our strong partnerships with the community, our collaboration, the ability for us to work with our nonprofit and corporate partners across this community, using our stages for a strong theatrical vision, bringing in artists from not only around the country, but around the world to tell their stories and see representation on our stages in our audience. So we have a great future, and we're hopeful, we're optimistic, and we just can't wait to be with everyone again.
We'll wrap up with where do we go to learn more? So website, social media, phone numbers, where would you direct us all?
Absolutely. Well, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram and YouTube, but go to our website. It's tpac.org, tpac.org, and you can find all the information on our social media handles, the virtual events that we have, all of our programs, and everything you ever wanted to know about TPAC is there.
Well, you make it easy. Jennifer, thank you for all you and your team do. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was good to be with you.